Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. I know y'all are excited about Crystal-vale and the exciting updates that the Defi-kingdoms team is developing and creating, but I wanted to kind of give you guys my mindset towards everything that's happening and stay out throughout the whole video because I believe that some of the things I'm touching on could help you either save more money or make more money. So also, I'm not an expert on anything. I just love the team, the ecosystem, and I'm just your average Joe that is invested inside this project. Now, if you guys haven't been living under a rock, the Crystal-vale launch happened a couple of days ago. And right now, the most exciting thing is definitely the farms and APRs. Now, if we go to the gardens real quick, all right, and we look at kind of the seed box over here, you can see it's pretty wild right now. You know, we have 6,000 APR on Crystal USDC. AVAX is doing pretty nice. Then we also have Jewel X Jewel and then Crystal Jewel. Now, which one do I personally think is the more better one? Now, look, there's no right or wrong when you're choosing which farms, but I believe that the Jewel X Jewel is probably the better one, and that's where I'm putting most of my money in, because there's little to no impermanent loss. Why is this important, guys? It's because Jewel and X Jewel come from the same token Jewel, right? X Jewel is just a multiplier Jewel, whereas when you're looking at something like Crystal and USDC, Crystal is fluctuating in price. Right now, it's $35. And if price goes up, it's a pretty good thing. However, if Crystal decides to drop in price, you could be facing 10, 20, 30, 40% in impermanent loss. So the downfall of farms that have Crystal in them is that if the price of the token does go down and you entered at a high price, you're going to be facing, you know, a certain degree of losses. So that's just something to consider. Now, of course, the APRs here are pretty good. It's higher than the, Jewel and X Jewel, but with the pool reward allocation of only 7.5%, the APR in this will drop significantly over the next couple of days to a couple of weeks. So the ones that have the most allocated rewards will have the most sustainable APRs. And so that's why I'm in their Jewel and X Jewel a bit more than these other ones right here. Right, so that's just something to consider, guys, when you're farming inside these gardens. Now, let me bring up something real quick and just give you guys an understanding of why I think why I think Crystal will ultimately drop in the next couple of weeks. And I just wanted to prepare you guys. Like, I can't predict prices because the team is so good and there's so much excitement behind the game. However, you also need to take a step back sometimes when things are good, when things are exciting, because when things crash, you must, learn and adapt. So right now, okay, Crystal is priced at $36. I'll leave this in the description below as well, so you guys can see real-time prices. Right now, it's at $35, $36. Just yesterday, it was $19. So massive increase. We reached $42, and now, we're at 35, which I think is a crazy price. Now, I think that eventually, from my speculation, that Jewel and Crystal will be almost the same in price. It will taper down to the point where if Crystal is at, or if Jewel is at $10, then maybe we'll see Crystal at $10 as well. So more closer to a 1-to-1 ratio. So why isn't a 1-to-1 ratio happening right now? It's because there's a lot of incentives for people to hold more Crystal than it is to hold Jewel. Why? All right, like, you know, why is Crystal pumping? It's because the APRs in Ice Gardens, most people have transferred or taken out their liquidity from the Serendale to Crystal-vale. So it's just much more, there's just so much more incentives happening in Crystal-vale. Also, right, the multiplier in Jewel, like, I think this is an underrated play as well for people that have a, you know, a long-term goal. But I just think that, in my opinion, I'm not really going heavy and accumulating Jewel here yet because, or sorry, accumulating Crystal yet, because I think that it will dip very soon, and I'll tell you why. So right now you can see that the multiplier is 1.026. If you guys go over to Serendale, it's at 1.7. So if you just held Crystal or Jewel, right, for that whole time, you would have made 1.7 times your money, which I think it's pretty good. And you have to understand as well that when Jewel came out, it was way low in price, you know, a couple cents. So you can imagine that if you just accumulated Jewel for over the course of the last year, you would have made some serious bank. Now, of course, people are preparing for the Gen 0 giveaway or raffle. And I think that this is a great way to keep, you know, making players invest inside Crystal-vale. But I do want to show you guys the dates and what my thoughts about it is, because I personally think that the price of Crystal will drop significantly after the airdrops, after the Gen 0 raffles, right? Like, you have to think about the biggest incentives that the Defi-kingdom teams really gives out. And I say that Gen 0 heroes are probably the cream of the crop, right? Like you can't really get better than that. So if that is the main incentive that the Defi-kingdoms is giving out, which is Gen 0 heroes, in my personal opinion, because it's such a new token, people will dump this afterwards. Now, look, I could be wrong. Crystal could just keep pumping and pumping and pumping. I'm just giving you guys something to think about. Okay, so let me actually go to the announcements real quick, and show y'all what's happening here. So, okay, over here, all right, starting April 4th for 3 weeks, ending at 12, let's say 12 a.m. EST. So April 25th, each wallet can only win once. So for the next, it's going to be 3 weeks. So I expect that there's going to be a lot of Crystal bought or maintained or held in wallets. So how it works is every 10 crystals we have, so if one crystal is $35, 10 crystals is $350 US, you will earn 1 ticket to the raffle. There will also be a multiplier applied to the milestones, adding a 0.1x to each 100x crystal. I think this is pretty cool. Look, everything's a whales game, so we can't complain. But if you have 100 crystal, like, you get, instead of 10, you get 11, which I think is crazy. And I know some people that have thousands and thousands of crystals. And yeah, this is essentially the raffle. But I think that, okay, it's just something to consider. I'm just gonna go around slides today. If you're buying crystal for a chance to win Gen 0 heroes, expect the price up immediately after the snapshot. That's my prediction. I think that it will taper back to about $12 or $15, depending on the price of Jewel, because the price of summoning is going to be the same. Like, we're still measuring in 1-to-1 for the, you know, Jewel to Crystal. I think this is really important, because if the price of Crystal is at $35 and, you know, you're summoning with Gen 0 and you're hiring another Gen 0, like, you're paying 32 right? You're paying like 32 jewel, right? So it's like $1,000, and I don't think that's sustainable. Especially once there's more heroes and people are buying Gen 1s and they're summoning with them, it's going to cost a bit as the generations go up. So I don't think that the price of Crystal being at $36 is very likely. It has to drop to the price of where Jewel is right now. Also, something that I've thought about is if you enter the farms with Crystal and the price of Crystal drops from $40 to $10, you will face impermanent loss, right? So consider withdrawing liquidity before the snapshot of the Gen 0 raffle, right? So right now you can see that inside the gardens, okay, it's at 6,000% APR, which I think is amazing. Over the next 3 weeks, this will of course taper down. If you're entering right now, let's say inside Crystal USDC, and you're entering at $36 for Crystal, and let's say my prediction was correct and Crystal drops to $12, you're going to face a lot of impermanent loss. Now I understand that there's a fee, right? There's a withdrawal fee for people that withdraw earlier. So if you entered today or closer to the date, just be aware of the fees as well. But look at this, guys. After 5 days, the fee drops to 1%. After, before 2 epochs, it's 0.5%. 2 epochs is 2 weeks. So what I'm looking to do is I'm going to actually withdraw all my liquidity just before the Gen 0 snapshot ends, right? Or maybe even before that, if I think that Crystal is going to drop. All right, so that's just something to consider, my friends. Now, just before I kind of wrap things up, okay, as people are so invested inside Crystal-vale, I want you guys to remember something. Summoning on Crystal-vale will cost the same units to summon in serendale. So that's why I think it's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. Also, guys, all heroes from serendale can be bridged safely to Crystal-vale, so they don't need to go on the perilous journey and lose 3 out of 3 like me. I know, but they'll be bridged safely, so you don't have to summon on Crystal-vale to have heroes. They will have a mechanism where you can actually safely transfer these NFTs to Crystal-vale. So my little strategy right now would be to accumulate a lot more crystal, then probably get some miners and just mine over time. And hopefully I'll be able to mine at, locked crystal and make decent rewards. Also, don't forget, guys, that all rewards here look so incredible, but the locked jewel that you have will be locked for a year. Most of you watching this probably haven't even been in crypto for a whole year. Things change, right? And I'm not saying that the Defi-kingdoms team is not good. I truly believe that they're probably the guys leading, the team that's leading in gamified NFTs. And yeah, look what happened to Joe, right? Like if you got him in the first epoch, you would have been making so much money. But figure out a strategy right now. Like, are you going to compound your crystal, right? For me personally, I'm going to be using the crystals that I earned to go into the raffle, right? My goal is to get a couple hundred crystals, maybe a couple thousand. Not a couple thousand. I'll probably try to get 1,000 or 2,000 crystals, and then yeah, and try to sell as soon as I can to recoup some of the losses. And so that's really it, guys. I'd say the team is doing an amazing job. I'm super bullish on this project because they're really solving some of the biggest bottlenecks for gamified NFTs, right? Sustainable incentives. A lot of NFTs or gamified NFTs that come out, you notice that they promise crazy rewards, but the ecosystem and tokenomics don't work to a sustainable method, and eventually people start dumping the gaming token, and the project just dies. You know, these games need to be exciting, and Defi-kingdoms just brings this nostalgic feel with all these heroes, and you know, I just think it's a brilliant way. So it's always going to attract new players. Now the entry cost for new players right now is quite cheap. If you look at serendale, it's like 30 jewel for, you know, a hero, which is only like 300 US dollars. Now, if this is what I'm hoping happens, okay, what I'm hoping happens is that for jewels price to go up and be, you know, they've always said that jewel is going to be the main token, right? Like everything goes back to jewel in a way. I'm hoping that jewel can reach new heights of $50, $75, and $1,000. And as they're launching this game on new mainnets, those, you know, those tokens can be a bit cheaper so that people can still summon and grow the game as Jewel's price keeps growing up. Now, I didn't think that the price of Jewel could ever reach $30 or $50 or $100, but I think that as they keep expanding to different mainnets, if Jewel can be the main token, they can reach these heights. But if Jewel was the only token available, and that is the token used for summoning, then the entry cost for new players will be extremely high. Like the price of Jewel cannot be $100 if it costs 30 to 40 Jewel to summon. That's $4,000, right? Like who's gonna really play the game? This cannot have mass adoption. So overall, I think, you know, everything's going amazing. Keep farming, guys. Let me know your strategy and what you think so far about the Ice Gardens, about your strategy. And if you think that the price of Crystal will keep soaring. If you do, let me know as well. Let me know your reason why. I personally think that there will be a temporary dip, and I'm just going to warn you guys about this. That's all from me today, guys. Hopefully you've learned something, or you got some information that maybe can help you better your strategy. But other than that, peace out, and I'll definitely see you guys around.